Frédéric Chopin was one of the most famous composers and pianists in the world. He was born on March 1, 1810, in a small town called Żelazowa Wola in Poland. His father was French, and his mother was Polish. From a very young age, Chopin loved music. His parents were supportive of his love for music and encouraged him to play the piano. His talent was clear, and he started playing the piano when he was only 4 years old. By the time he was 7, he was already playing very well. Chopin was a child prodigy. People in Poland noticed his talent, and he became very popular in his hometown. When Chopin was a boy, he attended a music school in Warsaw, the capital of Poland. There, he studied music more seriously and began to compose his own music. His compositions were unique and showed his creativity. At that time, he was already known as a talented pianist and composer. People loved hearing him play his own music, and he began to perform at public concerts. Even though he was young, he played with great skill and emotion. He could express feelings in his music that made people feel deep emotions like happiness, sadness, excitement, and calmness. As a young man, Chopin traveled to many places to share his music. When he was 20 years old, he moved to Paris. Paris was a very important city for artists and musicians at the time. It was where many famous people lived and worked. Chopin wanted to become more famous, and Paris was the best place for him to do that. When he arrived in Paris, he met many musicians, composers, and artists. He became friends with some of the most famous people in the world of music. Chopin played for important people in society, and they admired his talent. In Paris, Chopin did not like to perform in large concert halls. He preferred to play in smaller, more private settings where he could play more freely. These small gatherings were often at the homes of his friends. People who attended these private concerts loved his music. They admired his skill and the emotion he put into every note he played. He often played for other musicians, writers, and artists. They respected him not only for his musical talent, but also for his character and dedication to his art. Although Chopin's music was very popular, he was a very shy person. He did not enjoy large crowds or public performances. Instead, he focused on teaching piano lessons and composing music. He was a teacher to many students, some of whom were very rich and famous. His students admired his teaching style. He was patient and kind, and he taught them to play music with emotion. He didn't only teach them the notes on the page. He taught them how to make the music come alive. He told his students to be careful and to take their time when they played, making sure every note sounded beautiful. Despite his success, Chopin's life was not easy. His health was always very poor. He had a sickness that made him weak and tired. This illness caused him a lot of pain and sadness. Many times he could not perform or work for long periods of time because he was so sick. His illness affected his ability to play the piano, but he still composed music every day. Even when he was not feeling well, he would sit at the piano and create new pieces. His music was full of deep emotions and beautiful melodies. He did not let his sickness stop him from working, and his love for music helped him continue to compose. Chopin's music was very special. It was different from the music that most composers wrote at the time. He was known for composing music that was full of feeling and beauty. Many of his pieces were written for solo piano, and they showed his skill as a pianist. His compositions included waltzes, nocturnes, mazurkas, polonaises, etudes, and ballades. Each of these forms had its own style, but Chopin gave them his own unique touch. His music often had a gentle, flowing quality, but it also included strong, dramatic moments. Chopin loved his country of Poland deeply, even though he lived far away from it. He missed Poland every day, and his music reflected his love for his homeland. Many of his pieces, such as the polonaises and mazurkas, were inspired by Polish folk music. Chopin wanted to share the beauty of Polish music with the world. His love for Poland was a strong influence on his work. Even though he lived in Paris for most of his life, Poland was always in his heart, and he wanted to make sure that the music of his country was heard all over the world. Chopin's life was not easy, and he faced many struggles. He had health problems, financial difficulties, and the pain of being away from his family in Poland. However, he remained dedicated to his music. He was not rich, but he became famous for his talent. His music was appreciated by many people, and it helped him build a strong reputation as a composer and pianist. He did not become famous by performing in large concerts, as many other musicians did. Instead, his music became known through private performances and lessons. Sadly, Chopin's life was short. He passed away on October 17, 1849, at the age of 39. His health had been getting worse for many years, and he died from the illness that had caused him so much pain. Despite his early death, Chopin left behind a great legacy. His music continued to inspire musicians long after his death. Today, his works are still considered some of the most beautiful and emotional pieces ever composed. His music is played all over the world, and people continue to admire his talent. Chopin's influence on music has lasted for over 150 years. His compositions are still studied by students, and his pieces are performed by pianists at concerts. His music is full of emotion and beauty, and it continues to move people today. Many of his works are still considered masterpieces of classical music. His music is often described as elegant, expressive, and deeply emotional. Chopin's ability to express feelings through music is one of the reasons why his music is loved by so many people. Today, Frédéric Chopin is remembered as one of the greatest composers in history. His life and work have had a lasting impact on the world of music. He is often called the poet of the piano, because of the way he was able to make the piano sound so beautiful and expressive. His music continues to inspire new generations of musicians, and his legacy will always be a part of the world of classical music. Even though he lived a long time ago, Chopin's music still touches the hearts of people everywhere, and his influence on music will never be forgotten.